What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to do an eBay buy it now and auction video showing some items, sealed and slabs that have ended over the past week in one piece. I was planning to do this video on the weekend. I try and do it every Saturday. I didn't get around to it this weekend, and I'm kind of glad that I didn't record it just because we've had some crazy sales happen over the past 24 hours that I'm going to show you guys in this video at the end. I'm also going to need your guys' help on a couple of these just because for whatever reason, my 130 point wasn't working on a couple of these. So I'll point them out. And then if you guys want to contribute in the comments down below, you want to look up a couple of these listings, that would be awesome. As always, we will start with sealed product. First up, we have a case of OP05 Awakening of the New Era. This sold for $3,100 USD through Probstein, and this ended July 20th, so a little over a week ago at this point, but I still figured I would include it because I was supposed to do this video on Saturday, so it kind of would have fallen in that range. If you do the breakdown on the booster box price inside of a case, if it sells for $3,100, comes out to, I think, like $258, almost $260 per booster box. So we're still seeing OP05 sell a little bit lower than it was a couple months ago. We all know that more boxes have come to market. There's been restocks at Bandai stores in the US and maybe even our other parts of the world. So it's not surprising to see, but I do imagine that O5 will eventually move back up. Next up, we have Pillars of Strength. This is 12 booster boxes in an open case. The problem with buying an open case is that you don't really know if these are the original boxes that were supposed to be in the case or if someone put new boxes inside of it. Either way, this sold for $2,247. Definitely much cheaper option right now compared to OP05. And this is also significantly under market. I believe Pillars of Strength, a booster box is selling for about 230 USD on TCG Player, and then 200 USD in a case of 12 boxes would be 2,400 US if this were to sell that way. So this is below $200 per box. Somebody got a decent deal here. You guys know though, Pillars of Strength, I really don't think it's that great of a set. I would not be investing super heavy into it. Next up, this is a set that I do recommend that you consider investing in at least. Romanced On English, Blue Bottoms, a sealed case sold for $24,000. And then I put this into 130 point yesterday, and I could have sworn, because I did find some of these yesterday before I planned to record the video today, I could have sworn it went for 22,000 USD. There was a best offer sent out. I could be wrong about that. Maybe my mind's just playing tricks on me. I tried to bring it up today in 130 point. It's not working. So if you guys know exactly what this sold for, if there was a best offer sent out, definitely feel free to leave a comment down below. Either way, massive sale here. Even if it did sell for $24,000 for 12 boxes of Blue Bottoms, that's $2K per box for a Blue Bottom inside of a sealed case. And I know Blue Bottoms have been on the rise as of late, but that would still be a fairly large premium. And I'm going to show you guys what some loose OP01 Blue Bottom boxes are going for. We had an auction here, $1,495. This was from a very small seller, actually in Greece, out of Athens. So 1,500 US. That actually kind of seems a little bit high for the European market. I saw a OP01 Blue Bottom sell out of Italy this week on auction, and that went for less than 1,200 USD. I think there's another one in Germany for around $1,400. So this seemed a little bit higher than what I was seeing in Europe. We had another sale here. This is actually from Canada, Slab Sharks and Corp. They're a really big consignment service here. This sold for $1,683 USD, 58 bids. This box looks very minty though. It looks like it's in very, very nice condition. That might be why there's a little bit of premium. And again, it's Canada. The North American market is different from the European one, and we unfortunately have to pay up here if we want to buy these items right now. So I think that is going to be it for all of these sealed items, and we'll move into slabs now. And there were some huge sales this week. We'll start off with this one, which is awesome. We have a BGS10 Black Label. This is a Soga King from OP03 Pillars of Strength, the manga card. This sold for $8,000 or best offer. Apparently it's a very low pop card. I couldn't find out how much this is worth. This is another one of the cards that when I put it into 130 point, it wasn't bringing up the listing for me. So if you guys are playing along at home, definitely feel free to let me know in the comments down below and let everyone else know as well what this card actually sold for. I can't imagine this sold for $8,000. A PSA 10 is like, what, $1,000 on this card, maybe even a little bit less. So maybe it's very rare. Again, it says it's a low pop, so I don't know if that means there's like a 3 pop, a 10 pop, a 50 pop, whatever it is. But either way, very, very expensive card, especially for a Soga King. I figured I'd start the video off there. Next up, we have a Boa Hancock. This is from OP07, 500 years in the future. This sold through Probstein, $1,026. It's a BGS 10 non-black label, 68 bids there. Boa Hancock, very popular character. I would be fine if people are considering investing into Boa. I think in terms of waifu, she's going to be up there in terms of popularity. And then also just overall in characters, I think she's high enough up on the list. Again, I'd recommend putting most of your money into Luffy, Shanks, Nami, and maybe a couple other characters. But if you want to, I don't think Boa Hancock's too far down on the list. Next up, we have an Ace. This is from OP02, I believe, not the reprint. This sold for $1,102, PSA 10. This seems kind of in line with what we've been seeing. These cards go up a little bit, down a little bit, depending on the week, but it is in this range normally. We also, though, had a BGS 10 black label of the same card sell, except this is the PRB01 reprint, not the original from Paramount War. This sold for $1,825. I would imagine if an Ace from OP02, the original manga card, showed up in a BGS 10 black label, it's probably going to be breaking like maybe even $3,000, a little bit higher than that. We've seen the Zoro go in that range, like $3,000, $3,500 in a black label, and I think their PSA 10s are about the same price. So that's kind of where I would expect the non-reprinted version to be, but the reprinted version from PRB01 is definitely cheaper. So if you guys do want to collect the cards, that might be the way to go. Next up, speaking of the Zoro, we have a BGS 10 Pristine non-black label. This is from OP06, not the reprint. Sold for $1,100 through Probstein, 31 bids there. Next up, huge card, huge sale. We have the Law from OP05, but this is the reprint again from PRB01. This sold for $2,750 in a black label. We don't really see sales of this card too often compared to a lot of the other mangas on the list, but I am looking forward to the day that a BGS 10 of the original print card from 05 shows up. I think that's going to be very expensive, probably not as expensive as the Luffy, but I wouldn't be surprised if that goes for $5,000, $6,000 at that point when it happens. Next up, we have a couple Rogers on the list this week. BGS 10 non-black label sold for $4,550 USD. This was through Probstein. Again, you guys can see Probstein very popular in the One Piece community as a way to get rid of your cards right now. We also had a PSA 10 version sell for 9,600 Australian dollars. That's approximately $6,300 USD. Now there was a best offer taken on this. I put it into 130 point. This one actually did show up for me. $9,119 Australian, which I believe is a little bit less than $6,000 USD, which is a massive sale for this Roger, considering we just saw a BGS 10 non-black label sell for $4,500. So this seems a little bit high to me. I would kind of expect the PSA 10 to be around 5,000, but selling at 6,000, that's a huge premium there in this one instance. Next up, we have the OP01 Nami. This is the pre-errata BGS 10 black label card in English that sold for $7,700 or best offer. This is coming from Prime City Comics, which is a fairly large seller here in the United States. I put this into 130 point and it sold for 4,500 USD. That's the best offer taken. That's still a huge sale on this Nami card. I think someone actually left a comment on my most recent video that they thought this was the best Nami artwork that we've gotten so far. I actually don't hate that opinion, but I'm curious to hear in the comments what you guys think. Moving on, we have a couple more kind of like boring cards, even though they're not boring, but compared to the last couple cards we'll look at here, these will be less interesting, I think, to most people. We have a Shanks PSA 10. This is from OP09, Emperors in the New World. This sold for $1,050. 40 bids there through ZNG Emporium. They're another large consignment service in the United States. Next up, we have the Luffy LA Dodgers promo. This sold for $1,550 straight through PSA from the vault. PSA 10. It was kind of selling in this range, 1,500. There were some lower sales this week, some higher ones, but I think it averages in this range still. Next up, and the rest of these are going to be Luffy's except the final card. This is the Luffy from OP09, PSA 10. This sold again through PSA, $1,125. I think that's gone up a little bit over the past month. Moving on, we have another Luffy. This is the Gear 2 one from EB02, PSA 10, sold for $1,500 through Probstein auctions. I think we're seeing this card selling for as high as like $1,800, $1,850 at one point. So it's definitely pulled back a little bit based on this sale. I think there, again, are probably some sales that end around $1,600, $1,700 still. maybe the odd one that ends lower. I think this is a decent average for it right now. Next up, we have the OP11 Luffy. This is the gold card, PSA 10, $4,550 through Probstein. This sold July 20th, so again, a little over a week ago. We are going to have to wait and see what happens over the next couple weeks to month with this card. I do imagine it's still going to pull back a little bit more. We saw it selling for $4,800, now it's selling $45. I wouldn't be surprised if this is eventually less than $4,000 in a PSA 10. Next up, we have an OP05 Year 5 Luffy PSA 10. This sold for $3,957 through Probstein auctions, 45 bids. This seems a little cheap. We're seeing this card sell for around $5,000 at 1.4800 USD. So someone getting this around 4K is a pretty good deal. However, this was not the only copy of this card to sell this week. And guys, I'm very excited because if you've been watching the videos, I've been saying that I've been waiting for an OP05 manga Luffy to show up in a BGS 10 black label for us to get an idea of what that would go for. And that finally happened this week. You can see here, sold July 26th at 6:50 p.m. PST, $15,000 or best offer, and there was kind of an offer sent out, which we'll get to here in a second. This is the original from '05, not the reprinted version. Beautiful looking card. I threw this into 130 point. It worked for me. $14,000. A best offer was taken. So a massive sale there. And I think with it selling at $14,000, this is kind of solidifying itself as the card in One Piece right now, especially in the BGS 10 Black Label. And it's crazy. Across both games that I cover heavily, which is One Piece and Pokemon, there has been some massive BGS 10 Black Label sales over the past couple weeks. So it's just crazy, the money sloshing around these hobbies right now. It's wild. Everything just continues to climb. But we did have one sale come in, and I wasn't planning to cover this in this video because it happened today. But right before I started recording, I saw it happen. I don't know if eBay's system is like delayed a little bit sometimes, because when I initially did research for this video earlier today, it didn't show up, but then right before I started recording, I found it. So maybe that's just on my end. But either way, the Gold Roger BGS 10 Black Label English, $10,500. I can't check 130 point to see if a best offer was taken. If you guys remember back, we saw this card show up and I think it sold for $10,200 or exactly $10,000. But the last sale on this card, I believe, in a Black Label was in the 5 digits. So maybe this is pushing the envelope a little bit, getting it closer to $11,000. Either way, that is still cheaper than the '05 Luffy, which sold for $14,000. So currently, the '05 Luffy in a Black Label is the most expensive card you can pull out of a booster box in One Piece. But that is going to be it for the video this week. As always, you guys let me know in the comments down below which was your favorite sale. Mine has to be the Black Label Luffy. I mean, $14,000. Just crazy. It is the card now. On the sealed side, I think the sealed Romance Dawn Blue Bottom case for 24K or best offer, that's wild as well that we're seeing this now go above 20K consistently. Very, very expensive products being bought up. Tomorrow, you guys are also probably going to be seeing a video of the deal going down. I just talked to the guy today. We are still on for tomorrow. So tomorrow I'm going to be driving a couple hours, going to purchase everything, pick up all the booster boxes. And then once I get everything home, I'll kind of have a discussion about which boxes I'm planning to keep, because that actually has changed. Just based on some other investments that are going on right now, I'm kind of prioritizing Pokemon at this point because there's been some interesting reprints happening. So one or two of the boxes that I was kind of on the fence about keeping, I'm probably going to end up selling now, but I'll explain that all in tomorrow's video. With all that said, thank you guys so much for watching. Stay safe wherever you are in the world, and I'll catch you in the next one.